These are this afternoon's top stories. Prime Minister Harris meets with prison officers. Guyana's former army chief publicly endorses the opposition head of elections. And final pleas are made by the Australian government to save the lives of 2 drug smugglers. Good afternoon and welcome to ZIZ's Midday Newscast. Today is Monday, April 27th, 2015. I am JD Keynes. Nationally, Prime Minister the Honorable Dr. Timothy Harris continued his meetings with the nation's security forces last Wednesday when he met with the St. Kitts and Nevis prison officers. Dr. Harris told the prison officers that their services are important and the government values the work that they do each day as part of the Federation's security framework. Prison Superintendent Franklin Dorset, who said he was honored to have the Prime Minister amongst them, pinpointed the officers' concerns. Among them, the lack of integration at the decision-making level of the criminal justice system, security challenges, location, contraband smuggling, health care for inmates, and equality regarding rank structure and salary with other departments in the national security system. There was also a call for a permanent nurse to be assigned to the prison to enable a more efficient and higher quality health care service. The Prime Minister gave his word that the lack of commitment toward the concerns and plight of the prison officers by the former administration would not be continued by the government of national unity. Volunteers for the annual St. Kitts Music Festival have been described as indispensable. Last week, Tourism Minister the Honorable Lindsay Grant told local media that community volunteerism has been the foundation of the St. Kitts Music Festival movement.
Over the years, a number of nationals have continually given their time and their expertise to the development of this 3-day event. In fact, the festival movement has nurtured this aspect of the Kittitian spirit and the Kittitian pride that gives volunteers the opportunity to participate in nation building. I applaud these volunteers for their invaluable service and by so doing gives real meaning to our national motto of country above self.
The police are investigating a traffic accident in Nevis on Sunday that has left Marvin Ross of Prospect hospitalized. According to police reports, after 1 p.m. on Sunday, while traveling from Gingerland to Newcastle, Mr. Ross ran into a concrete pillar near the New River Bridge. After being removed from the vehicle by the Fire and Rescue Services, Ross was transported to the hospital. The extent of his injuries has not been revealed. Police Public Relations Officer Inspector Lyndon David said investigators are still trying to determine what caused the collision. Mr. Ross is a member of the local media fraternity employed with Vaughan Radio in Nevis. We turn our attention now to news on the regional scene. The plot has thickened in the run-up to Guyana's elections as the former Army Chief Gary Best has publicly endorsed the opposition coalition. Cabinet Secretary Dr. Roger Luncheon says it is a matter the Commander-in-Chief, President Donald Ramotor, will have to address.
Secretary to the Defence Board, Dr. Roger Luncheon, today suggested that former Army Chief Gary Best could leak sensitive information to the opposition, which he has endorsed. Luncheon further suggested that President Ramotor, the Commander-in-Chief, would be looking to deal with the matter.
The situation of a departing Chief of Staff happily ensconced within the ranks of the opposition is a reality the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces have to address.
The incumbent PPP has been jittery about former Army officers joining the opposition coalition and are skeptical especially about Gary Best, the very immediate past Chief of Staff.
I am totally, incapable of understanding how a current Commander-in-Chief, in the face of the reality that evolves today with the most recent departing Chief of Staff consorting with the opposition, what this portends for the future.
Luncheon suggested that the position of trust between the Chief of Staff and the commander-in-chief could lead to vast compromise in sensitive information.
The engagement between a commander-in-chief and the chief of staff of the military is based on trust. Trust in the exact and current relationship, as well in trust in its historical antecedents.
Recently, current Army Chief Brigadier Mark Phillips said that the former military officers have the right to participate in the political activities of the country. He added that Guyana is still being governed by President Promoter, and he is still the Commander-in-Chief of the military, and in that regard, he still has the right to give instructions to the military. Brigadier Phillips assured that the Army is a professional entity and its current operational decision-making is not influenced by ex-military officers. For Capital News, Neil Marks.
In Trinidad, there was speculation Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar would announce the election date at the United National Congress's 26th anniversary celebrations this weekend. She evaded the topic, saying that the last person who called the election before it was due lost. She said she had no intention of repeating that mistake.
Call the elections when the elections are due in the Constitution and the law. Citizens, no one will jump with me to call an election before it is due. No one. So listen, they could jump high, they could jump low, no election date before it is due.
Internationally, with the diplomatic row between Canberra and Jakarta deepening, Australian officials have made a last-minute plea for a stay in the execution of 2 convicted drug traffickers.
Australia has made a last-minute plea to Indonesia for a stay in the execution of convicted drug traffickers Myron Sukumaran and Andrew Chan. Foreign Minister Julie Bishop said allegations of corruption during the trial needed to be investigated, referring to claims made by the pair's former lawyer that a judge had demanded $130,000 in exchange for a lighter sentence. Prime Minister Tony Abbott addressed the issue during an official visit to Paris.
Abhor the death penalty. We oppose it at home. We oppose it abroad. And I want to reassure Australians that even at this late hour, we are continuing to make the strongest possible representations to the Indonesian government that this is not in the best interests of Indonesia.
Currently being held in a prison on Nusa Kambangan Island, the pair are among 9 expected to imminently face a firing squad. Indonesia is said to be considering the fate of one of the group, Filipino woman Mary Jane Veloso, who claims she was tricked into drug smuggling.
Rescue efforts have intensified in Nepal amid a stream of foreign aid reaching the capital, Kathmandu, in the wake of devastating earthquake that has claimed more than 3,700 lives and injured up to 6,500 others. Sohail Rahman reports.
We're in the village of Harisiddhi, where at least 20 people have died. Just in this area, there's a cluster of old houses which all came crumbling down. Around 6 people were buried over here. They were all cremated yesterday. Now, the entire village is not only in a shock, but also they're quite angry because of the lack of services from the government. This gentleman over here, Bikram,
can you tell us what kind of help you've received from the government?
So far, we've not received anything from the government. We had the armed police come and throw 3 tarpaulins, and that's all. Everyone is living outside. Nobody is in the village. Not even dogs are in the village.
This relief might be coming because earlier we had found some government vehicles trying to pass, and the locals are so angry that they were not allowing any government vehicles to pass through.
I've brought some relief for Bandai Guan, but I will give you 3 packets for here.
So they've just found out that the relief material over here is not actually for this village, and the locals are refusing to allow anyone to pass through. They want the relief material for this area. Everyone is saying that they're hungry, tired, thirsty, and they want their relief now. And they're also expressing concern about how, if this village, which is just a few kilometers outside the city, is suffering like this, the fate of many other mountainous areas is unknown. Subina Shrestha, Al Jazeera, Kathmandu.
And now the weather. Today will be sunny to partly sunny, warm and slightly hazy with little or no shower activity. Tonight will also be mostly fair and slightly hazy with little or no shower activity. We can expect a temperature high of 29 degrees Celsius with a low of 24 degrees. Tonight, winds will come from the southeast to south at 7 to 16 miles per hour with lighter spells overnight. Seas are slight to moderate with heights between 1 and 1.5 meters or 3 to 5 feet. And that's how we end ZIZ Midday Newscast for today, Monday. I have been your presenter, JD Keynes. Join us this evening at 6:30 p.m. on radio and 7 on ZIZ Channel 5 when we'll have our major newscast. Have a great afternoon.